past couple of years, I've seen a huge number of people embracing 3-axis stabilized gimbals, including myself. I know what it's like. You acquire a gimbal or a drone and you just geek out. You're blown away by the technology, and the result is that you want to, and you end up filming absolutely everything on your gimbal. It looks cool. Looks cool to you, but I'm going to make the argument that it gets boring for your viewer. They get tired of the same movement over and over and over again. And when I shoot, I have to remind myself, okay, this looks cool to me, but does this look cool to the viewer? Do they find it engaging? And most of all, dynamic. And when I say dynamic, I mean, do we have a good mixture of shots, framing, composition, and movement? Gimbal and handheld work, in my opinion, go hand in hand. And I had to discover this the hard way, by looking at a finished edit and then asking myself the question, why is this not any good? And then realizing it's because I don't have anywhere enough variation in my shots. 545, fitting like a Mordecai. I ain't regular, feel like Jordan wearing 45. Traumatized, victimizing. So let me show you some of my techniques that made my gimbal and handheld work come together on this shoot. I shot this video with an incredible dancer called Verbs from Durban, South Africa, at an abandoned house that I've just always wanted to shoot at. The camera of choice was the Sony fx3, which is obviously a brilliant camera, but is also a super light one. Even with its IBIS, it makes me super nervous. I like my handheld shots to float or be breath-like in movement. So what I do with lighter cameras is weight them down, make them heavier. When you do this, it removes those micro jitters that our limbs often feed to the camera. I can never trick, let the bitch use my bitch with a kiss on my lips like, ah! Next, when I'm filming, especially when it's music videos, I sway or move to not only the music and the rhythm, but also the movement of the artist, or in this case, the dancer. In this way, your movements go along with not only the music, but also with your subject and the movements that they are doing. And remember your viewer. Make your handheld dynamic by changing the composition. Get your wide shots, that's great. But go in and get the detail. The detail is so important. And when you're coming in for those closer shots, just ask your subject to be less dramatic about their movements. I'm not saying less energy or less rhythm. All I'm trying to say is ask them to make their movements more contained. It'll help you in terms of framing and focus. Then with gimbal work, I once again focus on the movements of the subjects, but I also time the speed at which I move the camera to the beat and the rhythm of the music. As an example, when I can hear a big beat is about to drop, I anticipate this. And as the beat is right there, as it's about to drop, I rush in to capture the big movement that I anticipate the subject will give me. Sounded like a real anthem. Shawty saw my wallet, now she think I answer. Whoa, telling me she wanted me to hammer. Trying to get saved, baby, I am not the answer, no. Another key thing for me is that when I'm working on gimbal, I don't want the camera to capture my up and down movements from when I walk or run. I achieve this in two ways. Number one, I do the ninja walk, where I almost slide or glide my feet. I also keep my knees loose, if that's a term. And I try and keep my body or my head parallel with the ground, trying not to go up or down. I am not a pimp with a limp, I'm a man with a gift, and I'm doing my shit like, ah! And lastly, if you're a one-man band, invest, if you can, in a camera that has tack-sharp autofocus. Something like the Sony fx3, fx6, because it will make your gimbal shots that much more dynamic. Moving that camera inward or outward or orbiting, it just makes the shot that much more dynamic, because your subject is in focus whilst everything else is out of focus. these shots in this video that I did of the dancer, I set my focus mode to wide, with face and eye being the priority, and it just nailed it.
America ain't dreaming, they've been scheming when the birth of a nation came from we all know it's black.
I love this autofocus feature just because all of your attention can be focused completely on the framing and the movement of the shot, and you don't have to be focused on the focus.
Singing all my sorrows on Apollo, I've been trying to pave the way, but they didn't tell me it was potholes. America ain't dreaming, they've been scheming when the birth of a nation came from we all know it's black genius, everybody love the culture, they be black by conviction.
So that brings us to the end of this video, short and sweet. I have loads of more filmmaking content on the way. So yeah, thank you. Cheers.